All right. Hi there, everybody. Thanks for joining us today for this webinar to learn about field data collection with smartphones, tablets, and lasers, a partnership between LTI and geospatial experts. My name is Stephanie Giard, and I'm the marketing director here at Geospatial Experts. I'll be the moderator today, and I'll also be a presenter a little bit later in the webinar. So here's what you can expect in the next hour. We're going to start with a background on Geospatial Experts and LTI partnership. We're going to talk about sales opportunities that GeoJot Plus will open for LTI. We're going to explain the GeoJot Plus field data collection system and give an overview of the product functionality with a live demo. We're also going to demonstrate GeoJot Plus working with the TruePulse 360B laser live. At the very end, really briefly, we'll talk to you about tools available for demonstrating lasers with GeoJot Plus. And then at the very end, there will be a Q&A session. So there's a Q&A section in the GoToMeeting toolbar where you can type in a question. Please feel free to type in questions at any time during the presentation. We'll answer those at the end of the webinar, and if it makes sense and people are interested in it, we can go ahead and unmute everybody for an open discussion. You can also use that Q&A toolbar or the chat tool if you're having any technical difficulties during the webinar that you need to let us know about. Thanks again for joining us today, and now I will introduce you to our other speakers. We've got John Clark, who's Director of Business Development over here at Geospatial Experts, and we also have Rick Audit, who is our President and Head of Development. And with that, I'm going to pass control over to John.
Thanks, Stephanie. Laser technology and Geospatial Experts have been in business partners with complementary collection, measurement, and mapping solutions for over 10 years. The next phase of our partnership will leverage the integration of the GeoJot Plus app for Android devices with TruePulse laser rangefinders. Geospatial Experts has been the world leader in photo mapping software for business since 2001. GeoJot Plus, our latest innovation, is a successor to our widely used GPS PhotoLink. It is built upon both the GPS PhotoLink product and the GeoJot app. End users of our systems include every federal agency, all the states, regional, local, and foreign governments, most of the Fortune 1000, and universities and NGOs. Our software is sold by Geospatial Experts and its network of worldwide resellers. Many Geospatial Experts are also LTI resellers. New capabilities are frequently added by us to the GeoJot Plus system, and one of the latest enables the GeoJot Plus app to receive measurement data wirelessly from TruePulse devices, and that's what we'll focus on today. GeoJot Plus is a complete field data mapping and reporting system that can expand sales opportunities for TruePulse dealers. This slide is a good overview of the system. The first component is the app, which wirelessly connects with TruePulse and runs on the Android devices used by mobile workers. Number two, the system can automatically transfer data using the cloud. Third, GeoJot Plus PC-based software maps, edits, and processes the cloud transfer data. The fourth component is a web-based application for managing user licenses and activations. This fourth component, pictured here on the left, the administrator's dashboard, is web-based and enables managers to assign, activate, revoke, and then reassign GeoJot Plus licenses among their team workers. Integration of GeoJot Plus with the TruePulse system enables, one, the safe capture of distance and height measurements, two, in the field data, photo, and map editing, so the field worker can quality control and quality assure their work before submitting it, and three, the automatic transfer of data from the field via the cloud. Pole audits, joint use line spacing, and bridge surveys just start a list of applications for a GeoJot Plus TruePulse system. The use of map photos, data, and distance measurements to help solve business problems or to create business opportunities is only limited by the salesperson's imagination. There are 5 or 10 end-user needs that sales professionals should always look for. These define GeoJot Plus and TruePulse system sales opportunities, and we'll go through some of these in the following slides. Organizations use technology and processes that save them time, money, or provide an advantage. Salespeople can help end users think how the collection and mapping of photos, data, and distance measurements can save time or reduce expenses. Maybe things like just simply move less, measure more, or avoid rework caused by inaccurate measurements or bad data quality, or maybe to provide proof of performance reports, or leverage the real-time information transfer via the cloud from the field. The more end-user needs in this checklist that are identified, the better the fit for the sale of our combined system. So we have here 11 that, if they are all selected, would really be a nice fit for the GeoJot Plus and the TruePulse system. So if we look at this slide, this is an example of some of the first items from the list. On the left, this is a streetlight audit, and on the left is the photo of the streetlight. The middle column in blue shows the attributes the city is using with its streetlight inventory. The right column in white shows the attribute value that the field user selects for each attribute. And here, the fifth line, you'll notice that it shows the distance to the pole is 24 feet 10 inches. So we have a photo, an attribute value, and a distance measurement. Here's another example of field data collected. Again, a photo, attribute value, and pole height. GeoJot Plus is an ideal information collection system for teams. With GeoJot Plus, the manager creates pick lists for data collection using the PC-based list editor, then emails these lists directly to each field member. Team members in the field then use the attributes from these lists. They select predefined attribute values, such as maybe under the action required for a street light, it might be replace the bulb. Importantly, GeoJot Plus creates output for any and all user needs: client reports, watermark photos, shape files, and geodatabases for Arcgis systems, output for relational databases and spreadsheets, and KML and KMZ files for Google Earth. The GeoJot toolbar, circled in red here, is actually integrated into Arcgis. We create a number of reports using the GeoJot Plus core product. This one is called the standard report. Here on each page we're showing a photo, 2 different kinds of maps, and the attribute table for each photo. This is an example of a condensed report showing an attribute table, a map, and the photo. The GeoJot Plus TruePulse system won't fit every data collection and mapping need, but the more items you check off in the checklist, the better the fit and the easier the sale. So if we go down here, first of all, do they need distance measurement? Is a photo important to the project? How about attributes? We can collect up to 40 attributes per photo. Things like, is 3 to 5 meter accuracy acceptable? That's what you're going to get with an Android phone or an Android tablet. And can they leverage things like cloud transfer or barcode collection? The salesperson should consider how a GeoJot Plus TruePulse solution can provide the end-user organization with any of these benefits. So how do we increase efficiency using our system or increase worker safety? Could instant cloud delivery of photos and data increase revenue and speed cash flow? That could be important. And could mapped photos help the end user meet compliance deadlines or provide proof of performance reports? Obviously, we want to talk about revenue opportunities from the sale of our combined system. And traditionally, and this is true here, software can drive hardware sales. So GeoJot Plus software obviously can increase the number of and opportunities for TruePulse sales. For dealers, it also can create an opportunity for consulting revenue and for training revenue, both on GeoJot Plus software and on the TruePulse hardware devices. So with that, I'm going to turn the presentation over to Stephanie, who will show you a demonstration of the GeoJot Plus app.
Great. Do you want to keep that there for a second and take it back up to the top? So we'll just leave that showing. Okay, fantastic. Thanks a lot. All right, so now we're on to the live demo. Hi there again. I was the moderator earlier, but now I'm acting as a field team member. So here at Geospatial Experts, we hear again and again from different organizations that they really struggle to find tools that their field teams are actually willing to use. It's either that the software is too complicated or they're not comfortable with the hardware. And so these teams will just keep using the tools that they like and they know. They'll be out there with pen and paper, with measuring wheels and height sticks, or just not consistently collecting data at all. So what this leads to is inconsistent and inaccurate data and a whole lot of extra work back in the office. I mean, the goal of most of these organizations is to document or to do analysis or create reports for clients. And if you have a bunch of junk coming in, then you're just going to have a bunch of junk coming out. So really what we focused on with the GeoJot Plus app is ease of use and how to get this accurate and consistent data collection with very little effort and very little training. So here is how easy it is to use. I'm going to go ahead and walk us through a live demo. So, oh, yep, escape. There we go. All right, so here is how easy it is to use. I've got, oh. Excellent. Oh, it's disconnected. That's what that beep was. All right. So we're reconnected to our demonstration software here. And so I am a field crew person, and Rick is my crew leader, let's say. And he sent all of the crew members a data collection list so that we can get accurate and consistent data. So I've got my Android phone that I'm used to using, that I'm comfortable with, and I go to my Gmail account. And here we go. I have my GeoJot attribute list. So I click on it. So do you want to add it? Yes, I do. And it's as easy as that. Now I'm going to go home, and I open up GeoJot. And I make sure that I've got my attribute list selected that I just received. So I've got the streetlight inventory selected. And now I'm ready to just start taking pictures. It's really as easy as that. So here we go. I'm going to click on the camera. And while I'm doing this, before you take your picture, the first thing that you do is you get your laser measurements. So get the distance and the first angle and the second angle, which we're doing now. And see, hopefully you guys saw that change on the screen. We've got the laser height down there in the, well, it just showed up there, and it's also always right there on the lower right-hand portion of the screen. So that is how easy it is to get your height into the GeoJot app. And then, once you've got the height in there, then you go ahead and you take the photo. And then this is the data that Rick told me that I needed to collect. We all need to collect out in the field. So for the ID, I'm actually going to do a barcode. So click here, barcode. There we go. Line it up. So there we go. And so barcode reading is as easy as that. I hit done, and then the light type, incandescent. And the bulb type is a mercury vapor, and the bulb replacement will say, nope, it doesn't need to be replaced today. This is owned by the city. It is maintained also by the city. Maintenance tech, we'll say my name's Samantha today. There we go. Pole material is steel. The pole shape is the tapered steel, square tapered steel anchor. Pole service will say we need to do a repair on the pole. in the brackets, your bullhorn, and the condition we'll say is poor, and that's why it needs some work. So there we go, and I hit save, and the data is being saved and automatically going up to the cloud. So that's how easy, whoops, yep, there we go. So that's how easy it is to use the data collection app. You do that over and over again, collecting your data, automatically sending it up to the cloud. And what used to take several days now takes maybe just one. And now that I've showed you how easy it is to do the data collection with the GeoJot Plus app, I'm going to move over to show you how easy it is to set up and manage your field teams. So now I'm acting more like I'm Rick, the field crew person. So go over here. So go to the Geospatial Experts website, or all of our resellers in common who are reselling this have their own way to access this from their website. And I log in here. And so this takes me to the administrator's dashboard. And here we've got some basic information about how to use the administrator's dashboard. And I'm going to go straight to the serial numbers. And how I have this account set up is I have one serial number with 50 field users. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to be able to see my users out there in the field. So these are all the people who have activated it out in the field. This is a great management tool because I can see how many people have actually bothered to activate their app. Each of these activations can be used on either Apple or Android devices. And this is also where I can deactivate somebody. So let's say that AJ is a temporary worker and the end of his contract is up, and I want to deactivate him so that I can give it to the next staff person who's coming on. So I just go here, and I hit deactivated and save. And now, as you can see here, AJ is deactivated, and I can go ahead and give that license to somebody else. So this is a really different experience than most purchases from an app store. There are no individual purchases for a company to worry about, no reimbursements, no tracking. All the activations are under one PO for an organization. You can track all your users, as I just showed you, and the activations are not tied to hardware or users. So if you have seasonal staff, if you have staff turnover, if you have lost or damaged devices, it's really easy to switch, to move these around because they're not tied to the user or to the hardware, which is how it generally works with apps. So I just showed you how easy it is to use an app for field data collection, and I showed you how easy it is to manage users with the administrator's dashboard. Now I'm going to hand off to Rick Bobbitt, who's going to show you our more advanced features. First, he's going to go over, he's going to act as the administrator, and he's going to show you what an administrator would need to set up on the devices before they go out in the field, so they are that easy for your field crew to use. And then he's going to show off some of the more advanced data collection options that I didn't cover in the basic field user demo. So there we go.
Okay, thanks, Stephanie. Let me bring up the Android display again. Again, this is Rick Bobbitt, and I'm acting as the administrator, someone who needs to set up these field devices so they can be easily used by the field workers. So the first thing that we need to get set up in the field is your attribute list, or your form for the data that the people want to collect. So on the device, you click on Attribute List, and this shows all the lists that are currently in the device. It can hold an almost unlimited number of lists for various projects and jobs. And these lists are important because they really help you give consistent and accurate data collection across your field teams. These lists have drop-down lists so that they can select these items and without having to type them in, so the data entry is much more consistent and accurate. So you can create these lists right here on the device by clicking the plus symbol up here on the upper right and create a new list. But we find it's a lot easier to use our desktop application to do this. So you can create them all here in the device itself if you need to, but otherwise it's best to use our core product, the desktop product. So let me bring that up quick. So under core, we bring up the list editor, and this is where we can create our lists. It's real simple. We just create a new list, and I can add an item into my list by clicking Add. And the first item I'll add is an ID. Now I can specify if this is required or not. If I set required to on, then the user has to enter this before they save the photo. For allow typing, if this is off, then the user has to select from the list and can't type anything free form. The list is what I create over here. We could also have a default value for each one of the attributes as well. So ID is pretty simple, so then next we'll add something more complicated like a light type. For this, I'll also make it required, but I'll turn allow typing off because I want to make sure that the field user selects from a list. And over here is where I start typing in the list. So I can type in things like pendant or Watley, whatever that is, type of light, and colonial, and so on. So it makes it really easy to type these lists. This is what will show up when the user tries to select a light type in the field. So you can create another field in here, and it can be called something like bold type, and so on. So make it really simple to create these lists, but there's even an easier way to do it. If you have the data already, these lists, in like an Excel spreadsheet or a CSV file, then you can just import those into the list editor. So here I'll bring up an Excel spreadsheet, and what I have is a similar list with an attributes are across the top with your ID, light type, bold type, owned by, maintenance, and then below them are the drop-down lists that will appear for each item. For ID, I don't have any drop-down lists. For light type, these are all my items to be put in the drop-down list, and for bold type, and so on. So if I go back to core, create a new project, a new list, don't want to save, and then I just import that list, that Excel spreadsheet, right into the list editor, and so then it automatically populates all my attributes and all my list values. Select what sheet I want, and there it goes. So now for ID, there's no drop-down list, but for light type, I now have all the drop-down lists for light type and for bold type as well. Over here in the values, you can also just copy and paste lists of data too. If you have data in Word or PDF format, you can paste those lists right in here without having to retype them as well. So the next thing we need to do is get these lists to the end users, and the easiest way to do that is just attach it to an email. So if I click this, it'll create an email. You send that to the field workers, and then do what Stephanie showed at first, which is just opening up the email and bringing that list directly into GeoJot Plus app. So with that, we're going to go back to the app. Again, I'm acting more like an administrator, setting this up for the first time and getting it all set for the field workers to use. So the next thing besides lists that people have to deal with is how to get the photos back to the office. The core product, which runs on a PC desktop, is used to process the photos, so you have to get those photos back to the office. There's various ways of doing that. You can plug in your USB cable and copy them over on the PC. You can email them, or the best way is using the cloud to do it. So I'll show you how that's done by going to Settings and then Cloud. So we have Dropbox automatically integrated into GeoJot. Dropbox is a cloud storage service that provides free cloud storage up to like 2 gigabytes, or you can pay for it and have under 2 gigabytes of storage. With this Dropbox selected and auto send on, every time you take a photo, the photos will be automatically uploaded to the cloud. Then there's various options here. I can turn Wi-Fi only on if I want to not use my data plan, my cell phone data plan, when I'm uploading photos. And then the real nice thing about the cloud option is that you can organize your photos. So in the cloud, it's just like a directory or disk drive, and we can have a path or a subfolder where these photos go. So each project can have a different subfolder or a path to where they go. Here we called it asset inventory. And then they can have dynamic folders as well. So underneath that asset inventory, we can have the photos organized into subfolders based on a memo, like memo 12, which is our bold replacement. So that way you can find all the action items, like the ones that need to be replaced, and then handle those lights separately. Again, once these photos are sent up to the cloud, if you have Dropbox installed on your PC, as I have here, then all those photos get automatically downloaded to the PC as well. So it's as easy as taking a photo in the field. It could be halfway across the world. Photo gets uploaded, and then a minute later it's on your PC ready to process. So that's it for the cloud options. Again, and setting this up for use, I'll show you some more advanced settings. We'll go back here to the advanced settings dialog. Here we can do some settings to increase the accuracy and of the GPS and the data. So we have a required accuracy field. This, you can specify what accuracy you want your GPS or position to be in. If it's not of that good accuracy, then you won't be allowed to take the photo. Clear lock allows you to clear the GPS lock. We have an option to lock the GPS out of position. This option just lets you clear that after every photo. Retain values will retain all the values you just entered for the next photo. This is useful if you're going to take 5 or 6 photos of the same object and want the same values to appear every time you take the photo. If this is unchecked, the values will revert back to their default values. The last one, and more relevant here, is the laser connect. With this option, we can connect to a LTI laser rangefinder, simple as connecting to a Bluetooth device. So I'll do that here. You just click connect, and if I have the automatically connect checked, then if I start GeoJot and the laser is on, it'll automatically connect to the laser. So here I'll connect to the laser, and I can scan for devices, but I already have mine in the system, so I just click the 360, and now it connects to the laser. And at the bottom here, it shows data collected from the device as well. So that kind of gives you a debug version. So if I collect a height value here, and then that'll show up. I'm using the laser now, and boom. So now we got the laser height in, it's 5 feet, and it shows you the raw strings from the laser. So this makes it really useful to debug what you're doing. Also shows you the version of the laser you're connected to and the software version number. So how you use the laser, like Stephanie showed you, is it's really simple. You just go back to the camera app, and whenever you take a photo, the laser height, as shown down here, will be in the photo. Now you can also collect distance as well. You can collect both on the same photo. So it makes it really easy to collect the height or distance or both, depending on what the project calls for. Now some of the other advanced functionality, we have the flash you can turn on or off, which out in the field you usually probably want to turn it off. And then we have, this is our GPS lock I talked about. So this is useful when you are just collecting like height of an object, but you want to collect the point where the object is at and not when you're standing, not where you're standing when you took the photo. So you can walk up to a light pole, click lock, and when lock's on, the GPS is turns yellow there, showing that the GPS is locked at that light pole position. Then you can walk back 20, 30 feet, take the laser height, and shoot the photo, but the actual point collected will be the object location and not where you were standing. The other way to do it is you can also use the laser distance and direction to do that as well. So that's the lock feature. And then all this is all customizable, what you see on this screen. So some people might want a cleaner screen. They might not want to see where their position or altitude is. So it's easy to turn those features on and off. I just go to display settings, and I can turn latitude and altitude off. And now those goes away from the screen, so it gives you kind of a cleaner presentation of the screen. Also, throughout the whole app, on every page, we have context-sensitive help. So I just click Menu and Help. Then it shows me the camera help, what each of them buttons do, what GPS lock does, and what all the menu options and things are. So that makes it really easy to discover how to use the app and be able to get it used to its full potential. Okay, so now go back to the camera screen. So after you take photos in the field, let's go back home, then you want to be able to see the photos in the field. So that's what the camera roll function does. The camera roll shows you all the photos you've taken. These are all the photos I've taken. And the first 3 attributes for each of the photos. We have the ID, the light type, and the bolt type for each photo. We also have a symbol here, the cloud icon tells us that all these photos have been uploaded to the cloud already in Dropbox. So if you want to see more detail on each photo, you just click on a photo, like that. And then it brings up the photo detail screen. This screen has 3 parts to it: the map, which shows you the photo, the direction you were taking the photo, also the GPS information and accuracy information. And if I scroll up, it also shows you the laser height. So it shows that we did the height of 21 feet for this pole. Besides the map, we have a photo screen that shows you the full photo and a full-size screen. Click on that. And then the attributes tab lets you see all the attributes you've collected in the field as well. And all this is changeable in the field. You can edit any of the attributes you want just by clicking on them and selecting from the list. And you can go back to the map and you can actually move the points around on the map as well. If that's what you need to do. So the setup on the app is very simple. Again, this only has to be done once, and then once you're in the field, you can do like Stephanie did, just take photos over and over again and collect all the data. So that's it for the app portion of the demo, and now we're going to go back to the desktop. So again, after you collected all the data in the field, what you use back on the desktop is our GeoJot Plus Core product. This might look familiar to a lot of you because it's built upon our GPS photo link program, which has been out for about 10 years now. So it has all those features of photo link and more. So this allows you to create projects. It's all project-based. And now I'll open up a project that we have here, which is our streetlight project. And this shows all the photos that we've taken. And we're back in the office now, and I need to get those photos in here. So I can click on the Dropbox icon here, which opens up my folders on my hard drive for Dropbox. These little checkbox means these have been copied down from the cloud as well. So all the photos I took out in the field are here ready for me to use, and all I have to do is drag and drop them onto GeoJot Plus Core to start using them. GeoJot Plus Core is set up as a kind of a wizard-style interface. Over here are 7 tabs or wizard steps that guide you through one by one what you do to get to the final goal, which is your output, reports, and data. So we've done the first step of importing some photos. The next step is Geo Tagging, and what this step allows you to do is, this is mainly for photos without GPS information already. We took these with Androids. We already have GPS information, but if you're using a separate camera and a separate GPS, you can use the geotag wizard and it will link those photos together and geotag the photos. The meat of the matter, the core of core, so to say, is the attribute editor. This is where you go through and you can see all the data collected for each one of the photos. So as I selected the photos here, then you can see all the data collected. The photo data, the GPS data I can expand here, and the photo data, and all the attributes as well that we collected in the field. Let's scroll down here. I can select a photo over here, and it shows me not only the photo direction, what angle I was taking the photo on, which can be taken from the TrueFold 360 if that's hooked up to the camera. It shows me the distance to the object, and it shows me the height of the object as well. And then we calculate the offset location where the object is actually located at based on the distance and direction to that object. So here you can enter more data, so like title, subject, comment, you can enter those in. I can select all my photos over here and type in a title like streetlight inventory. And since I've selected all the photos, then all of them will get a title streetlight inventory. To see what any individual photo has, I just click on the individual photo and I can see their data here. It also allows me to QA/QC the data. I can make the photos appear a little bigger. And if I know that the light type was the wrong light type, I have the same list that we had in the field, but I have it here in GeoJot Plus Core as well. That makes it really nice for data consistency and to QA and QC your photos again. Over here we have a map showing where all the photos were taken. On the map you can zoom in to see each individual photo. You can also move the photos just like you can in the app if you need to. So the next step in the wizard is the photo editor. And I saw one of our photos need editing already. So the first photo is sideways. So the photo editor allows you to do photo editing on the photos right in GeoJot Plus Core. So I can rotate this one. And it seems a little dark to me, so I can use the auto brightness, auto color tool. And that makes it a lot easier to see. So this lets you do real easy photo editing. But one of the best features here is the cropping tool. So it might look like I was taking a picture of this pole, the power line, but it's actually the light pole over here that we're collecting data off of. So one way to cut that out is to crop it. So here I'm going to crop the photo just to show the light. And now we know that we're taking a photo of the light, and that's what the data is. It makes it really easy to zoom in on exactly what you want to see in the photo. We can also draw on the photo with freeform drawing tools, and we can type text on the photo as well. So the next step is the watermark string. What the watermark string allows you to do is watermark or imprint data right on the photo. So if I zoom in here a little bit, you can see that we have the photo, but above we have what the condition is and the name. And at the bottom of the photo, we have the position and the date and time. You can choose from any of the attributes you collected, any of the GPS attributes, any of the attributes in the field, and have those imprinted on the photo, which makes it good for archival purposes and things like that. So next is the shared output settings. These are common settings for all of our outputs, such as the reports and the data output. The photo information just has the size of photos we want and the photo titles. And then the title page is for the reports that we're creating. Here I have a logo of the City of Fort Collins, and then I have a laser technology logo. Those will appear on the first page of the reports, which I'll show you in a second. And then all these reports, we can have static maps or just JPEGs of maps that can be downloaded from the internet to show on the reports. And here we can select the type of maps we want, either Google or ArcGIS. You can even connect them up to a custom map server. If a client has an ArcGIS server with their own background maps or parcel data, they can use that as their background maps as well. The attribute table selection tells what data to show on the reports and the output in the data types as well. So here I've selected some of my output, and if I wanted to add more, like owned by and maintained by, you just check them, and they get added to the output. So it's really easy to customize the output for just the attributes that you want. And another powerful feature is our rename photos. With this, we can specify a pattern to rename our photos by. So maybe you want to have the ID in the name of the photo and who's it's owned by. Then you can click those two, and the little preview down here shows me the ID of the photo and who it's owned by. So just lets you rename those photos right on the fly dynamically. So now I'll go to the last step, to select output. Again, there's two types of output, report files and data files. Report files come in standard reports and condensed, which I'll show you in a second. And then the data files are shape files for ArcGIS, geodatabases for ArcGIS, right into a geodatabase, or the Google Earth output, and then some text outputs and an Access database output as well. So once you get all your settings set, you just hit Create Output, and then it'll create all the output for you and download the maps from the internet, and then you'll have your output all created. Here I'm back in my project manager. It shows me all the projects that I've created. Let me minimize this. So these are all my projects. You can organize them by folders. And you can also set projects as templates. So if you went through all the trouble to set all your options for your streetlight inventory, the next one you do, if I check this box, you can create it based on that streetlight inventory, and all the project settings will be copied over to the new project. So now I can show you some of our output. Again, back to the reports. This is the standard report. has the logos we showed and the overview map of where all the points were. And then for every photo, we have a page showing the watermark photo and 2 overview maps, one a satellite and one a road map. And then it shows the attribute table. These are the attributes we selected for output, and those are output here. Again, the next photo, and then its attributes. The next type of report is what we call a condensed report. It's similar to the previous one, but it shows up to 3 photos per page with just 1 map and attributes on the left, so you can get a nice condensed version of the report. Then the next output I'll show you is the minimize this, is the ArcGIS output. So when you install GeoJot Plus Core, we have our own toolbar here in ArcGIS. This is our GeoJot Plus Core toolbar, which has a view photo icon. So here we have our layers that we've loaded from the project. And if I hover over a point, a little camera's where I took the photo, then it shows me the picture that was taken. I can make it bigger too. And more importantly, it shows me the attributes down here, the height, the ID, the light type, and so on. So as you can see here, I have 2 points collected. One is the actual location of the pole. So for this one, we used the laser for the distance, and so then it calculated the offset location. Let me zoom in here. So I was standing here, but the actual pole was over here across the street. Nice visual representation of how that's done. Then the last output I'll show you is the Google Earth output. So this is all in Google Earth, which is very similar to the ArcGIS output. I can click on a point and see the photo taken at that point and all the attribute data as well. And we get the laser height in the attribute table for all this output. So that's it for the setup and the output. It shows how easy it is to collect the data, set up the devices, have your field teams collect them, and then run them through GeoJot Plus Core to create all your output and your reports for use later on.
All right, so before we get to the Q&A session, there are a couple quick things that I wanted to go over. Earlier when we got this started, I told you that we would let you know about an emulator app. To do this demonstration today, we use the MyMobler emulator app. So that allows you to show the screen of your Android, what's happening on your Android screen. It allows you to project that onto the big screen. This is really good for webinars. It's also really good for live trade show demos. The app is free, but it does take a little bit of effort to get it set up. I didn't want to bore everybody today with the details of that. I've done that before. It doesn't go over well. So please contact us if you would like to get this emulator app up and running for LTI demos, and we can help you get that started. That brings up another good point. Today we focused almost exclusively on the Android. This is because integration is smooth and completely wireless via Bluetooth on the Android devices. The data is collected on the TruePulse, and it goes directly into the GeoJot app and is saved as an attribute. This amount can be used with Androids, but it's not necessary. We didn't use amounts at all for any of the data that we collected for these projects. So things are a little bit different with the iPhones and the iPads. Some of you may or may not know that Apple doesn't allow you to connect with other devices via Bluetooth. I believe maybe there's one device that they've allowed to connect to their devices via Bluetooth. So we can't actually get the string of data from the TruePulse into the GeoJot app when we're using an iPhone or an iPad. So what we can do with the iPhones and the iPads, there's definitely still a data collection process for this. But what you would do is you would go ahead and mount it with the brackets that you guys have available, and then you would take your measurement and take the picture at the same time. And so you would actually see the viewfinder as part of the picture that you capture. And then later, using GeoJot Core on the desktop, you could inspect each photo, take a look and see the data that was actually written onto the JPEG and put that in as one of these memos. So Yeah, as one of these memos. So this is how it was done with the Android. It was automatically populated. But what you could do is look at the picture on the left. It would be the information from the TruePulse would actually be captured onto the JPEG image, and then you could visually inspect that and type it in to height. Create a memo for height and type that in. Same thing for distance. So it's not as streamlined, but it's the best that can be done with Apple and with Apple devices. So with that, we're going to go ahead and move into the QA, to the question and answer. Yep, and please, we've got a few questions here that we'll start with, but if anybody else has any additional questions that they'd like to ask, now's the time. So just go ahead and type away.
Okay, Jim asked, the first question we have here is, does the phone or tablet make any sound as the data string is received from the rangefinder? And the answer is no, but that sounds like a pretty good idea to me. So, that's a really good idea. We'll take a look at doing that so that you don't have to watch it. It can just beep at you, and you'll know that the height was collected correctly.
Cool.
Then the other question was, again, asking about the bracket and how long it takes to mount and dismount, which I don't know exactly.
You know what? That is a question that maybe Steve or Paul, I think Steve and Paul are both on this webinar, and that's something that they could probably answer. Let's see who's on. I don't know who uses it more. Why don't we go ahead and, Paul, go ahead and unmute Paul. See if he's there. Hey, Paul.
Yeah, I'm on my computer. Can you hear me?
Barely.
Yeah, we can barely hear you.
Can you try again?
I think, yeah, because I'm through my computer. Can you hear now?
Well, so this was just a question, so we can hear you. We had a question from Jim, and he wanted to know how long it takes to actually mount using the bracket. Does it take like 30 seconds to mount it? Does it take a couple minutes to set up the mount?
I would say a couple minutes. We only resell the Apple version of the bracket, but if you go to US Night Vision, you can actually purchase it directly online for the Samsung. As far as, I would say it would take a couple minutes. And again, it's a part number of ours for the Apple. We have an iPad, an iPhone bracket. But again, I'm not too familiar with the Samsung. I'm sure it's very similar.
Okay, we can't hear you really clearly, but I'll summarize if anybody had a hard time understanding, which is it takes a couple minutes for the Apple devices to use those mounts. So, okay, thank you very much, and let's go on here to the next question. I was under the impression that we could take a photo through the range